Well, hey everybody, my name is Charles Howell, and like all you guys, kind of stuck at home for a bit here, and our life's been put on pause for a little bit, but I think it's important to start by thanking all those that are out there risking their lives on a daily basis, all those in the healthcare profession, from the doctors, nurses, first responders, and then all to the out in our supply chain, from all the grocery stores, restaurants, etc. A massive thank you to all of you guys. While we're kind of at home doing our thing, you guys are truly risking your lives. So thank you. And obviously to all the golfers out there, I know we're all itching to get back and play competitively, as well as play with our friends and just getting back out. So I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. Hopefully we'll see an end to this relatively soon and get back on the golf course. So I have some questions here through Instagram, and we'll give this a shot and see how we go. Number one, from @KWB Golfer. What are you working on now that you can't play in tournaments? Well, I live in Orlando, Florida, so fortunately our golf courses are still open, so I'm able to go out and play and practice and stick to a little bit of a normal routine. It's kind of a bit different though, not having a set date on a golf tournament that's going to be coming up soon. So still practicing and still playing, but not really quite knowing when we're going to get back at it. On the fitness side of it, me being 40 years old now and not 25 anymore, definitely important to stay up on that. So doing that as well, and trying to use this time, as a little bit of a break. With our children, remote learning. So to all the parents out there, we understand. Trying to help them with the homeschool, and their teachers doing a wonderful job, and I know it's a lot on them as well. From @NoahGibson321, what is your proudest moment in golf? Well, I'd say my proudest moment is actually qualifying for the Masters in 2002. It's been a dream of mine since I was a kid to actually play in the Masters, and to finally actually make it there, from walking the fairways as a 10-year-old kid to actually qualifying to play in the golf tournament. That's so far been my proudest moment. It's also been my most nervous moment, to hit that first tee shot, and even to this day, my most nervous moment. From @GolfDaydreamer, what's in the bag and what shafts are you using? Well, let's see here. So we've got the most important club in the bag, and that's a discussion for another time. The driver. I've settled in on the TS3, working with the guys at Titleist, JJ, and everyone else. I found this head is extremely forgiving, but yet still able to work it. My preferred shot is a draw. So I've got the weight setting in here where the larger amount of weights on the heel just to help the draw a little bit. The shaft, I've actually been using this quite a while for a guy that tinkers a bit. This is the Tensi, the Blue Band 65 TX. I believe it's tipped a half an inch. Great thing with this shaft has been it plays stable but doesn't feel overly hard. That's kind of one thing where I think a lot of golfers have gone a little bit too stiff in their driver shafts, and actually look for other ways to load it and to pull on the handle and whatnot. So the great thing with this shaft is it's really stable. It doesn't actually feel overly hard. The irons, the T100, and they went straight in my bag. It was slightly thinner top line from the AP2 that I played prior, which is just a looks cosmetics thing. I think most golfers probably would prefer that. The soles on them I find better. They go through the ground a little bit better for me, a little bit less digging. And then the shaft, Project X, the loaded, the LZ. These are 6.5s. They're hard stepped, so we'll call that a 6.8, etc. 125 grams. I went through testing quite a bit of shafts. I played the Dynamic Gold for a long time, like a lot of guys out there, and I found this shaft was the dispersion was a touch better on it. With shafts, it's such a personal preference. It's whatever you like and whatever you feel. I've actually used these for quite a while now as well. And the putter, putters change quite often, actually. The head cover courtesy of Drew Page. And so this is one of Scotty's newer models, but it's the Newport looking head. I prefer this to the other. I like the more rounded edges. If I get too straight of edges and too many lines and everything, I try too hard to line it up and too hard to be perfect with the putting. When I look at the great putters out there, and Brad Faxon, Brant Snedeker, just go down the list. There's a lot of, to me, it looks like they look and react and go. I found if I get too straight edges and too many lines on the putters, I just start over trying a bit. So that's a snapshot of what's in my bag. I've been really happy with the TS3 driver, and the irons have been great. And the putter is such a personal preference thing. You see guys using the bigger mallets or more of these blade style heads, and when the putter starts behaving, we just switch it. Number 4, Copper Hall 77. When did you start playing golf, and when did you know you wanted to play pro golf? So I started playing golf when I was 7. My next door neighbor growing up in Augusta, Georgia, his name was Graham Hill. We started playing golf together in our front yard and backyards, and we took wiffle balls and made holes out of it, and we'd end up hitting it over neighbors' houses and across the road and all this. And the first club that we were members of, and their family was as well, was called Westlake Country Club in Augusta. Spent a lot of time out there. Later joined Augusta Country Club, and they were awful good to me, and me out there practicing and destroying the range and hitting extra balls on the golf course. And when I knew I wanted to be a pro, somewhere around the age 14 or 15, and that kind of led into my college decision of going to Oklahoma State, where not only was it a ways from home where I grew up in Georgia, but also, I was playing for Mike Holder, who was I think the greatest golf coach ever, and who was going to be hard on me and tough to play for, but he was going to demand a lot out of us. And so that kind of at that age there, 14, 15, and into my college decision, committing to go there, is when I really knew I wanted to play pro and give it a shot. From @Jason Newsom, what's your number one swing thought with your iron? So for me, irons are all about distance control. And Mark O'Meara, who was great to me early in my career and got to know, he always told me the key to golf was pin high. And later, Tiger would share the same thing with me, that the key to golf is pin high. So anything in my irons is dealing a lot around that. So what I'll do is I'll pick a swing thought based around what I'm working on in my golf swing. And for example, with my irons, it's really important for me to keep my width in the downswing, shallower angle of attack, etc. So my thought will go around that. Now, what I would suggest or advise would be whatever it may be that you're working on in your golf swing, boil it all down to one overall general feel and go play with that. And then on the driving range, just have at it. Like, have a whole bunch of thoughts, a bunch of feels, try to overdo it, and then see what sticks, and whatever little sticks out of that, take that field into the golf course. From @BKKnight23. You've won with both overlap and interlock grips. Benefits and disadvantages of each. Oh, good question. So, for me, I started early in my career with an interlock grip. What I found as I got older, etc., is I couldn't keep my hands together, where it would interlock, but the couple here where it would kept pulling apart. So it was actually David Ledbetter, good friend of mine, longtime golf instructor. We actually then tried to go overlap a bit here, and I was able to apply a bit more pressure there and keep that. That's just for me. I'd say advantages and disadvantages would be personal. It would be how your hands actually work and where you feel the pressure points and whatnot. I do know when it comes to grip, through studies done, etc., the contrary to thought of people saying grip the club real light, etc., when you're coming down and through impact, you're squeezing that thing to death. Pick up any Tour Pro's bag. and look at their grips if they haven't changed them in a while, and you'll see them worn out and everything because they are squeezing like heck on this thing. So you might start an address with it real light and soft, but when you make your transition and down through impact, I promise you, you're squeezing the daylights out of it. From at Derek J.J. Whipple, tell me about Charles I and II. Were they golfers? So my grandfather, I actually never met. He was a tobacco farmer in South Georgia. He passed away from a massive heart attack early in life. But obviously, growing up in South Georgia in those days, tobacco farming, he didn't play much golf. My father is a pediatric surgeon, and he's now since taken over as chief of surgery of the hospital. And he started playing golf when I started. So I started playing when I was 7, and my dad took the game up then. I think he got his handicap down to about a 7 or an 8, so he became a pretty good player. Then when I was around 12, 13 years old and became really serious about the game, he quit playing golf just to help me. So between all of his time at the hospital and all of that, helping me was enough more on his plate than trying to keep his handicap down. From at Cody Ryan, have you ever gotten an Albatross? I have one time. It was in a practice round, sadly enough. It was at San Antonio, Texas, the old Valero Texas Open. There was a par 4, drivable, but the entire hole was blind. You kind of hit over the side of trees and it went down and you couldn't see anything. Tuesday morning practice round, I hit a driver, go down there, can't find the ball, whatever. So we start chipping and putting around. Anyway, a certain amount of time later, we go up there and the ball's in the hole. So, yes, I did. However, it didn't really mean anything, number one. It was a practice round and we didn't even see it. So I can say I've had one, but that's about the extent of it. All right, from at Justin Goldick. What's the most challenging hole you've played and what course is it on? Well, I find a lot of holes challenging. Let's see, from holes that people would recognize, I would say in its own way, well, I'd say they're at Augusta National. The 12th hole, the par 3 there on a windy day is absolutely brutal. In that the wind has a way, especially when it's playing into the wind or in off the left, where the trees will block a certain amount of that, but then it'll rush back down through the valley there, and you see crazy things happen. I've been lucky enough to play at Augusta National quite a few times away from the Masters, and I've seen a lot of good players hit good shots that came up short of Race Creek. We've seen balls go 20 yards over the green, and these are good shots. So the wind in there, then you couple during the Masters tournament with the pressure and all that, it can get pretty crazy. I'd say that, and then other situations from holes people recognize. Same golf course. I mean, it's the 4th hole, the par 3 there is absolutely brutal. When you play the back of the back tee, 240-ish yards, the wind can swirl in there as well. I mean, you're looking at a green. I mean, you're probably comfortable hitting a 7 or 8 iron to that green. Now you're hitting 3 irons, 5 woods, hybrids into it. A little less well known than number 12, but I'd say now that we're in April and the Masters is kind of on everybody's mind, I'd say those 2 holes come to mind. From Luke Scott Athlete, favorite spot on tour for the best food. Cool. So I'd say, man, that's a good one there. So some golf tournaments we actually order off a menu. So Muirfield Village, the Memorial Tournament, is one that comes to mind. Food's fantastic there. They take great care of us. For good Southern food in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, Johnny Harris and his whole staff and team take great care of us. That'd be your good Southern food spot. We're lucky. I mean, these tournaments spoil us so much. It's hard to even say which one isn't great, but those 2 come to mind. All right, from Smither1102. Best golf course in Georgia besides Augusta National Golf Club. Well, I'd say the nearest and dearest to me would be Augusta Country Club because I spent so much time there, and from the general manager there, Henry Marburger, who was so good to me, and Tommy Brannon and everybody there. It's a golf course that's special to me and always will be special. Down a little further south, Ocean Forest, where I'm fortunate enough they let me be a member, is wonderful, and so that's another fantastic one. But then I'd say if I had to play one golf course besides Augusta National, Great Waters at Reynolds Plantation is incredible. The funnest course in the state of Georgia, also at Reynolds up at Lake Oconee, is the Creek Club. If you've ever been there or played there, it is awesome. It's a golf course where there's a lot of fun, a lot of different hills. It's on the lake. So yeah, I'd say those are my ones. I'd say Augusta Country Club, but then all the golf courses at Reynolds Lake Oconee are just awesome. From Radnan, do you have any golf superstitions? Yes, I do, actually, and I think playing this is my 20th year on tour. I think playing golf for that long, you start to develop them. I always have 4 tees in my pocket. If I break one or lose one, I replace it to get to 4. I won't play a number 2 ball, so I play all those in practice rounds and pro-ams. So in tournaments, I'll only play a 1, 3, or a 4. And then marking balls, I used to only use coins and mark it with the head up. I then started a little bit marking balls with actual, ball markers that they, kind of give those little plastic ones, because I was a little bit afraid if like my playing partner hit that, at least it may not mess their putt up as much if they actually were to hit a coin. But I'd say always 4 tees and never playing a number 2 ball. From @Joshua B, what's your secret to longevity on tour? Well, fortunately, this is my 20th year playing. Man, it goes fast too. I'd say a couple things. I'd say number 1, loving the game. I still love golf. I still love playing. I love practicing. I love all the things that go into it. I love doing different things to try to get better, whether it's collecting 3D data on my golf swing, diving into TrackMan, filming. I like all exploring ways to get better. That's one. I'd say another one is fitness. I mean, now there's so many smart people, so many smart, from physical therapists to strength and conditioning coaches, that working out and physical fitness in golf is it may not look like our, typical football player fitness, but it does serve a purpose, and its number 1 goal is to keep you healthy. And so I think that and the leaps and bounds that industry has taken, from TPI and what Wally Uline and Titleist pioneered, so to speak, to going forward into this, to where it's all grown now. And so I think Tiger introduced us all in a way to fitness and et cetera, and the importance of it. But now what guys have done going forward, you see from Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. I mean, these are all guys that I see in the gym, and they're the best players in the world, and I see how hard they're working at it. So I say that's the other, is a combination of those 2 things. From @Jordy Steins, what's the best advice you've ever been given? I'd say the best advice I've been given is not just work hard, but work smart. If it were just a contest of who worked the hardest, it'd be relatively easy to have success, and I would have won more golf tournaments, etc. It's about finding what works for you, and I can say that from my experience watching players on the tour, where you've got some guys, let's say a Vijay Singh, whatnot, that love to practice a lot, and they do a lot of repetitions and hit a lot of balls. And you've got other guys that may spend more time in the gym. You got other guys that do whatever. So It's finding what works for you and working smartly. I found it very easy to work more or to work harder. My challenge has been, how do we work smarter? So I think that's a roundabout answer to your question, but it's always challenging yourself on that. And that gets to your work in the gym with fitness. It gets to short game work. It gets to long game work. It's okay, what does this really apply to? What does this matter? And what are we going to see through the benefit on this? And from @Richard F. If you weren't a professional golfer, what would you be? Well, I would be in finance somewhere, private equity, private investing, etc. I love the financial world. Hopefully I would have I'd be on Wall Street, doing that life, etc. I love the markets. I love all of that. When I'm away from golf, etc., if I read books, a lot of my books I read have to do with that, or with other great leaders and what they did. I feel like there isn't quite enough time in the day to learn all the things I want or need to learn. So the financial world, I really enjoy how it moves, how other countries interact together, and so if I weren't chasing golf balls, I'd be up on Wall Street. Well, guys, I think that is it. But just want to thank each and every one of you guys for your time. Thank each and every one of you guys for supporting golf and supporting professional golf. We are nothing without fans, and ultimately all we are is entertainment, and we're lucky we can live our dreams and their dreams because of the fans and because of everyone out there. And to everyone at Titleist for not only making the best golf equipment, but for supporting each and every one of us. Thank you guys. And to everyone out there, when you're looking to get back into golf and whatnot, the people at Titleist from Fairhaven, Mass, to Southern California, know that they're good people. They're working hard for you, and they make the best gear. And listen, God bless everyone. Stay safe, and hope to see you on the golf course soon.